This diagram actually showcases, it's not just pretty, it showcases a little bit of what we are on. So we're basically the initial steps for a pathway for teams like yours or entrepreneurs like yours to get going in a trajectory that will help you define and successfully launch a startup. So we are I-Corps, we're all the way on the left, we're number one here in green, so you can get started. We're going to provide you some tools to do some initial validation. When we finish the course, you will be able to do some more of the work we're doing in the course through a grant that we have that gives you up to $2,000, and we'll discuss that at some point in the program. And then there's follow-on programs after that. So there's something called the national program that some teams may qualify to apply for. There's competitions in the university. There's all sorts of other opportunities to get funding or to get more expertise. And participating in I-Corps gives you a very good way to get in and to strengthen your applications. A little bit of background about myself. I have a PhD in computer science from Penn. I worked several years as a faculty member at NYU and at Wharton as well, and also in the School of Medicine and Engineering at Penn. I have extensive expertise in equity markets. I worked providing advice on investments in network technologies. And at Penn, I run two programs, this program, the I-Corps program, and another program that's called the PCI Fellows that I would be glad to talk to anybody who's interested. It's an opportunity for graduate students and postdocs that want to learn about technology commercialization to participate in an internship at PCI, which is paid. Srishta is a fellow in the program as well. I did 3 startups. Only one did well, which was interestingly just the first one. Here's an example of one that I did in early 2000s. That was the beginning of the web. I had created a tool to help develop web pages out of a kind of structured database automatically. So a lot of this you see already now when you click on something and you see a list and you see different people and you get more information. So I created the startup. I ran it for about half a year. And then, had I known then what I know now, it would have been successful. But, there it goes. That's the learning of which you're going to be able to benefit. So Penn I-Corps is several things. One of them is a course that we offer on customer discovery. And customer discovery, as I'm going to talk a little bit later, is the art of figuring out who your customers are and what they want to see if they want what you're actually trying to develop. We also provide funding, as I mentioned, and we mentor teams after the course to become companies. We have several programs. Some of our teams have gone to South by Southwest. Some have participated in other accelerators here at Penn. So we support you in all those endeavors. So far, we have been running this program since 2015, and we have 130 teams that have gone through it, over 300 participants, and the companies in our system, ecosystem, have raised $25 million. We are an NSF-funded program, so we have a grant from the National Foundation to support this kind of activity. And the goal of the grant of the NSF is to help promote the transition of funded research into the marketplace. So the main focus is funded research. We also work with teams that are student-owned technologies, which may not originate in funded research. Before I talk a little bit more about this, there's 3. I'm going to show you a little bit of some of the teams that came through the program. So I'm just going to showcase very brief videos that they put together. And I'm going to have to actually stop sharing and share again so that I can share the computer sound with you. So 3 teams from the previous cohort, the one that was in September.
We are Eurogenie. Our tagline is Eurofilmetry Streamlined. Basically, 2 of us are pediatric urologists at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and we have a business partner, Roman. So our product is essentially a way to measure urinary flow rates in a way that it's an innovation on the current techniques and methods. We'll get through that a little bit as we go, but currently there are several limitations. And so our device, by integrating into the electronic medical record and delivering uroflows in real time, has potential benefits both to be used in the home as well as in the office.
So, this is a team of 2 urologists that are working in CHOP and at Penn, and they're developing a device to measure urine flow. The next 2 are from students. So I'm going to let you listen to them, and then I'm going to maybe give you a brief explanation.
So we're MAR Designs, right? And so just as a quick recap, what we're working on is developing this dynamic wrist orthosis for patients who have cerebral palsy, right? So these kids who have contractures, so their arms are kind of contracting to this, we want to have a way to stretch them out comfortably, and current orthoses don't do that.
So these were 3 graduate students in bioengineering that were developing a device for a specific condition that affects some children. Their joints contract, and they want to be able to extend them over time. The last one is a slightly different one, also from a student. This is a Wharton student.
Is Showcase is a network of vending machines that are a platform for brands to exchange products for feedback. So what that means for users is you walk up to the machine and you can get anything you want for free as long as you give a quick survey on the item. And for brands, that gives you really targeted in-the-moment feedback that reaches an unreachable consumer.
All right, so this is from a Wharton student who worked on it's a machine that you go and you get free stuff. It's like a vending machine in exchange for providing market research feedback. So you fill out a questionnaire. All of these 3 companies are still moving forward at different stages, you can imagine. But this gives you a sense of the wide range of activities that we fit in and the kinds of people that join in our programs. So we have faculty, we have graduate students, we also have undergraduate students. So the way to participate in I-Corps is there are 3 ways. You can apply through any of these, and they're all in the same application form. Is number 1, you have a startup idea and you don't have a full team. So you need a team of at least 2 people that can participate in all the sessions. So you have a startup idea and you're looking for team members because you don't have a full team. That's option A. Option B is you don't have a startup idea yourself, but you're interested in joining some other team because you want to learn about entrepreneurship, and you may find a company that you're interested in, and it will lead to a path in your entrepreneurship career. Number C is you have a full team and you have an idea, so you complete, everything's fine. And so those are the 3 options for applying. The application is online at this web address, and you are going to get both a copy of this presentation and the PDF file of the and a recording of the presentation. So we apply online. There's a rolling application process. So we review the applications as they come in. The teams that fit well, we invite for an interview, and then we will decide following the week of September 30. So the ultimate application deadline is September 30. This is an important question. Why do startups fail? And there's many different answers to this, and there's many different reasons. There have been studies that categorize them in different areas, and this is what came up. And the top reason is no market need. So companies that build stuff that nobody wants. So you might ask yourself, why would somebody do that? You know, why build something like that? Well, the reason is you're an entrepreneur you are very focused on what you do, you like it, you put all your energy in it, you think it's going to work, and you just put all your energy into developing product. And the second reason is that up to most recently, the way to develop a startup was to develop an idea, then go out and write a business model, then go out and raise funds, then develop the product, and then on day zero, which is 2 years afterwards, you do a marketing campaign, and you launch the product. And at that point, you see what happens. So it's a long wait. It's 2 years to do that, and then maybe it will fail. And there's some very famous examples. Webvan was a grocery delivery through the internet that was too early. It's just the market wasn't ready for them. Juicero is another one, a company that developed like a Mac-like juice maker that nobody wants, a $700 juice maker. So then the other reasons are companies run out of cash, they don't have the right team, they get outcompeted. Interestingly, burnout shows very far into the bottom. Like only 8% of the companies fail because of burnout. But no market need is the main one. And what we want to address here in I-Corps is exactly that. How do you make sure that you don't fall into that category? And how do you make sure to do that fast so that you find out very rapidly if you're targeting the right market with the right product? And I will discuss how we do that.
I think it's pretty specific, but it's basically, I noticed the 2 out of the 3 videos you showed us were kind of medically based. I was wondering if that's a trend in I-Corps or if that was just a random sample.
That's a very good question. It's a random sample, but because what happens, the university has a very large life sciences component. About 80% of research at Penn is life sciences related. So we tend to have more life sciences than others. So we basically mimic the makeup of the university in terms of focus. But many are engineering oriented as well. So we're looking at both of these disciplines. So it looks like we have everybody back, which is great. So I hope you had a good time with this. We're experimenting. We want to have a chance for people to meet each other. When we meet in person, we have food and other stuff, but we could do this. So this is what we did today. Hopefully it worked for you. So I'm going to continue sharing the presentation I have. So as I was explaining before, we're separating here the startup piece from the execution piece. And the way we define a startup is that a startup is an organization with a specific goal. And the specific goal is to search for a business model that works. Search to see if you have a market and you have a product for your market, and if there's a fit. So searching is one thing and executing is something else. So once you have found the match and you've validated your model, then you can move on to the execution. So this is at the core of what we do. And within this, so the left side of the screen, there's customer discovery and there's customer validation. Customer discovery is what we're going to do here, which is trying to discover who our customers are. And once you have discovered that, then the second stage is to validate them more in depth. But our focus here is going to be on this, on customer discovery. We're using something called the business model canvas. Some of you might be familiar with this. This is a tool to succinctly aggregate the various components of a business model that are important for a startup. So there's 9 boxes here. They cover many different areas, but there's 9. And the way we use this is you put it on the wall and you add sticky pads to each one of these boxes about what you think is going to go into that box. And then as you move forward, you kind of replace those and refine them. We're going to focus on the 2 boxes that are in blue. And they are on the right, you have customer segments, which means who are my customers and what problems or what pains do they have which I'm trying to address. And on the other one, you have value propositions, which is what value am I bringing? What is my solution doing? How does it fit with their needs? So we're trying to make sure that there's a fit there. That's key to making everything that's happen. That's called product market fit. So when I said there's no need for the product, no market need in that chart, it meant that there was no product market fit. And this is what we're addressing here. There are several different types of companies that went through our program that are more advanced than the one you just saw because they went beforehand. I want to talk here about one called NeuroFlow. NeuroFlow was started by an MBA student and a graduate engineering person. They were interested in figuring out a way to help with mental health issues, specifically in the veteran population. Because the MBA student, his name is Chris Molaro, had been in the military, and he came back and realized that there was severe mental health issues, specifically post-traumatic syndrome with veterans, and there wasn't really a good way to deal with that. They worked with a device that was kind of a string that you put on your head that had electrodes, and it would measure electric signals while the person was in a mental health session with a therapist, and would record him and see if that would help figure out if the person had some stress that wasn't really showing during the session and address it. They started with that. They very rapidly found out that therapists did not need that, and they pivoted. And instead of focusing on that, they realized that what they did need is they needed help putting together programs to help mental health patients. So they pivoted to that and created a company. The company is now running. They raised over $5 million. The last I heard is they have 30 employees and they're working in the Philadelphia area. This is an example of a company that combined both engineering pieces and business side in the life sciences, and it was done by a student, by two students, and they're doing very well. So that's one example, and you can see more examples on our website. The course that we're running is running on Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So it's 3.5 hours. We're gonna try to make this as interactive as we can so that people don't get zoomed to death during this. The class 0 is just 1 hour. It's on October 9. And then the first class after that is October 16, which is the opening workshop, where we discuss the framework that we're gonna be using, and we're gonna ask you to put together your thoughts about it. And then following that, we have 2 workshops on how to conduct interviews. Because the way we do customer discovery is through primary research, and the most important work you will be doing in this course is to interview your customers and find out directly from them what their pains are. So by interviewing, we mean, in this case, we mean Zoom. So you need to create really face-to-face interactions via virtually and find out from there. And we'll talk to you about how to do that. There's an art to do that. It's not easy to do. We're also gonna help you figure out how to reach out to these potential customers. And then the last session is on November 20. So there's 3 weeks in between those sessions to help you conduct the 20 interviews that we will ask you to do. And on November 20, we're gonna talk about the lessons you learned. There will be 10 teams. And on November 6th, we have a panel for which you don't have to prepare anything, but you're gonna meet venture capitalists and lawyers that work with startups that can help you in your progress. So the focus is 20 interviews. Our expectation is that anybody that participates attend all the sessions for the full duration. So we require that a minimum of 2 people participate in a team, and the same 2 people have to be in all the sessions. So you can't swap in and out. Be active, complete all assignments, and conduct 20 interviews. And suspend any disbelief means believe me, this works. So just leave any doubts aside, at least for the time being, when you do this. What's the criteria for eligibility? Team composition has to be 2 or more members, all actively affiliated with Penn. Faculty, students, postdocs, staff, and alumni who graduated in the past year. If you have a PI, a faculty member that wants to do this but doesn't have time, the faculty member can send students to do this, graduate students or postdocs. There was a question about if we accept people that are not from Penn. As long as 2 people are from Penn, the other team members can be whatever you want. If you only have 1 person from Penn and the other person is outside of Penn, we might consider it. We have to see what the circumstances are, but it is possible. There has to be a technology behind the company. So we don't work with retail-based technologies, for example. If you want to have a company that sells T-shirts with a vegan logo, for example, it might work. It's just not what we do. So we don't do Warby Parker or diapers or anything like that. Ours is technology focused. There has to be a technology at the core of this. And by technology, we mean something that came out of research that is state of the art. If there is intellectual property, it has to have been developed by somebody at Penn. You cannot have somebody outside of Penn developing the technology and you within Penn working on it. And hopefully, and preferably, the technology has been developed while you are at Penn and not something that you bring in from before. Or if you bring something from before, it has to be something that you continue to work here at Penn. And as I said, there has to be a commitment to do this. How you will benefit from the program, you will develop a hypothesis about your business model. You're going to have 20 interviews that are going to be a gold mine for you to move forward and get funding and participate in other programs. You get insights. And there is a follow-on national program that I mentioned before that provides $50,000 in funding. But that is only for companies that are based on research-based technologies that have been funded by government awards. So NSF funded, NIH funded. Though if we have a technology like that, they qualify to apply for that program. And by going through our program, they can actually do the application. The other teams do not qualify for that. But as I said, there are many other programs that this will benefit you and it will help you get in. And we provide $2,000 in funding, which can be used exclusively for customer discovery. Customer discovery is what we're doing here. So we don't fund prototyping, we don't fund business development, we don't do consulting. So you can't ask, if you ask us, is my idea good? We're not going to respond. The idea here is that you figure it out and we give you the tools to do that. We don't help with marketing materials, we don't help with legal issues, company formation, patent filing, and so on. So that's basically what I wanted